up, you guys? Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I prep meat to go in my deep freezers. I do this because it saves me money to buy meat in bulk or bigger packages or when I see them on sale. So I'm going to show you guys how I take packages like this or even just some straight up hot dogs. These, like, how many hot dogs are in here? 24 pack of hot dogs, and how I break them down to get ready to go in my deep freezer. I don't use any type of machinery. Like, I don't have a vacuum sealer. I don't think you need them. So I'm going to show you guys how I break these down. All you need are your baggies of choice. These aren't even freezer bags. These are from Aldi. I've never had an issue using these in my deep freezer. I think it all depends how long you plan on storing your items. So I've got quart size, which are like sandwich sized bags, and our gallon sized bags as well. Now I'm using these bags because I don't plan on this meat being in my freezer for longer than probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about a month. We will eat through all this meat. However, if you are planning on leaving this meat in your freezer for a couple months at a time, I would definitely suggest getting freezer Ziploc bags. There's no point in wasting money on really nice meat or even just plain ground turkey or hot dogs and having it get freezer burnt and not being able to be used because you were cheap on the baggies. I never have an issue using these bags as long as they're not going to be in there for an extended period of time. If you're breaking down a big thing of like pork chops or something that you don't eat very often, then I would suggest investing in the Ziploc freezer bag. So I'm gonna show you guys how I go ahead and break these down. I'm starting with my turkey. I have 2 packages of these. I bought from Aldi actually yesterday, but because I didn't have time to take care of these yesterday, I just put them straight into my fridge. That's what I do if I don't have time to break them down right away, which I used to do right away after grocery shopping, but now I have more kids and it's just a little bit more difficult to do. So I put these in my fridge yesterday. I don't want people to think that you have to just throw it in your freezer right away if you're not gonna have time. If you can make time after grocery shopping the day or even the next day, go ahead, throw it in your fridge. It'll be fine. It's no different than what they do sitting on the shelf in the grocery store. Now I'm gonna break these down. So I break these down size-wise based on what I have on my meal plan. You guys hear me talk about my meal plan all the time. You're honestly probably sick of me talking about it, but it is the most important thing to go based on your meal plan. If you don't have a meal plan, you have no idea what you're doing when you prep your food. So I know I'm gonna be able to cut these in half and make 2 packages, make 4 meals. So what I'm actually gonna do is take my bags here and I'm gonna get 4 of them and open all 4 of them and have them ready to go. When we used to live at Fort Drum, my husband would actually help me with this. If he was home, we would do this right after we went grocery shopping, but we only had 1 kid then, so it was a little bit easier. Now we have 3, so it doesn't always work that way. So I have all 4 of my bags. I like to line them out kind of in front of me, and I'll have them open as far as they can go here. They do sell these things on Amazon. I'll put a picture here where you can open up your Ziploc bags and they hold them, and I definitely want to get those. I feel like those would be a good investment. But until then, so I'm just eyeballing it, cutting it in half, and then I take it and throw it in my bag. And I'm going to make sure I'm touching meat with the same hand and touching my bag with my clean hand. It just helps keep bacteria away. And because I'm prepping 3 different kinds of meat, every time I'm done prepping a certain kind of meat, I'm gonna wash my hands, I'm gonna wash my knife, and I'm gonna wash my cutting board. It's the best way to keep the spread bacteria. So before I close these bags, I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'm gonna take this cutting board and my knife and put it in my sink to also wash those, and then I'm gonna come back and close these Ziploc bags. Okay, so now that my hands are clean, I'm just going to I like to close half the package and then I squeeze out as much air as I can. And then I close it. But making sure you're squeezing that air out is important. It just helps keep it fresh. Okay, so I've seen some people at this point will take a rolling pin and roll all of these out completely flat so they can lay them just in layers in their deep freezers, which is totally a great idea. I personally don't do that, but it does help them thaw faster if you're pulling them out of the freezer kind of later than you intended to and you need them to defrost. That does really well, but at this point I am going to flip these all the right way so I can see their labels, and I'm going to label them turkey before I move on to another meat so I don't get confused on what's what. So now I moved my turkey out of the way, and I also have 2 things of this ground beef. These I'm going to put in larger bags. I think what I'm going to do is cut one of these packets in half, so I have 2 larger bags of ground beef, and this one I'm going to split into thirds. I do that often. Like I said, I go based off what my meal plan says. So each of these are, well, this one is 2.2 pounds, this one's 2.3, so I'm going to take the one that's 2.3 pounds and I'm going to cut it in half. So I know, because I'm making 1 meal of sloppy joes this month and 1 meal of tacos, that's what I'm gonna use these 2 bigger packs for. And then the rest of these I'll use for other things. Typically we only eat ground turkey. We don't use ground beef that often, only typically for sloppy joes or tacos. But I could use these for like a hamburger helper, or maybe I'm only making a small thing of ground beef to put on for nachos or taco salads or something like that, where we're still doing like a taco based dish, but we only need a little bit of meat because we're stretching it with other things. I'm gonna get 2 of my gallon sized bags for my larger sections of meat, and I'm gonna stack those on top of each other here. And then I'm gonna go back to my little baggies and I'm gonna get 3 of these and do the same thing. I'm just gonna open them up and kind of put them all right next to each other. This way it's easy for me when I'm pulling them out of the freezer to decipher what is a large chunk of meat and what is a small amount of meat, because obviously my small meats are in small bags, my big meats are in big bags. That's just what I do. It works for me. My husband knows as well. If I need him to pull something out, he can just go down to our freezers and pull them out. And then I like to take whatever is left on the bottom of my board here, because little meat gets left behind, and I just kind of pick it up and I'll throw it in a bag. Once again, I'm going to take my cutting board, my knife here. I've got some meat off of it. Same thing, I'm gonna throw it in a bag. I'm gonna take all of this with me. I'm gonna wash my hands, wash the cutting board, wash the knife, and I'm gonna come back and close my bag. Okay, so I'm gonna come on this way so you guys can really see how I do this. I'm just gonna close it about halfway. And I'm just going to squeeze all the air out of it and finish closing it. Now you can kind of come up with a system that works for you. If you only want to use large Ziploc bags or small Ziploc bags, it kind of just depends on what you're needing. This is what I do. It's easier for me doing it this way, having large packs of meat in large bags and small in another bag, just because then I don't even have to label it. It's just, okay, this is a small bag, it's small meat, this is a big bag, this is big meat. That is much easier for me personally, but do what works for you. Now I'm going to take my pen here, my Sharpie, and I'm just gonna write beef on this. Just label, take the extra 2 seconds and label your stuff as much as you think you're not going to forget. There we go. You are gonna be happy that you labeled it, especially when I'm freezing leftovers. Sometimes I'm like, wait, what is this? So just take the extra 2 seconds and label. Even if you're only gonna write a B on it, you could write a B for beef, T for turkey, just something, finding a system that works for you. All right, my last thing of meat here is actually this big pack of hot dogs. Typically, my kids eat through this whole bag of hot dogs in a month. I go grocery shopping once a month, so these sit in my fridge all month long. However, the last 2 or 3 months at the end of the month, I have a couple of hot dogs I just need to throw away because they get gross and grimy. So I'm gonna split this package and freeze some of these hot dogs. It's cheaper to buy this big thing of hot dogs. Otherwise, I get these at Aldi, and it's 88 cents for, I think, 10 hot dogs, or it's $2 for like 25 of them. So I'm just gonna take a couple of these, throw them in a bag, no prep required, and I'm gonna freeze them. That way, when I run out of hot dogs in my fridge, I can just pull these out. And these defrost in literally no time. Now I'm just gonna take the rest of these hot dogs and just dump them in this bag and then put them back in my fridge. I really hope this video was helpful for you. It showed you just how easy it is to get meat and prep it to go in your freezer. And you can do this with any kind of meat that you see walking down your meat aisle. You can buy a big tenderloin and cut that thing up into sections, throw it in a Ziploc baggie, pull it out when you need it. Those are perfect for crock pot meals. You can do this with anything, lunch meats, whole chickens, whatever you want. Grab it, do the same method. You don't need any fancy equipment to be able to do this. I did this with $3 Ziplocs. So you don't need to have a ton of expensive equipment to be able to freeze meat, or really anything for that matter. So I hope this was helpful for you. Like it if it was, leave me a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up.